You're watching Revelation, the program with a biblical perspective.
To follow on from the previous program, we will now see part 2 of the 3-part series of Ian McCormack's testimony. The young man who was stung by the deadly box jellyfish, and he was pronounced dead by the hospital doctors. They tied a tag on his toe and placed him in the morgue. But he then found himself first in hell, and then later he was standing before the living God. Ian did not believe in either heaven or hell before this experience, but he now testifies about these places because God gave him his life back in order to encourage us that there is life after death, and there is a new heaven and a new earth which God has prepared for those who believe, just as promised in the Bible book of Revelation chapter 21. Be encouraged.
I thought, well, maybe there is a God. If there is, who is he? I've seen thousands of them. Everyone thinks their God's the right one. And when you're dying, you'd like to know who it is, you know. You don't want to back a loser. Not if you're a gambler.
No.
So I'm lying here thinking, I don't know. If there is a God, who could he possibly be? I lay there and said, God, I don't even know if you're real. I don't even know if you can hear me. But if you can, I'd have no idea what to pray. You know what I mean? Could you please help me to pray if you can hear me? As I lay there, words began to appear in front of my eyes. It said, forgive us our trespasses and sins. As I saw those words, I thought, how on earth could God forgive me? I mean, it's too late. You know what I mean? And I lay there and I thought, nah, God couldn't forgive me. I've done too many things wrong. I feel like a hypocrite even trying to ask that. My mother started saying in this vision, son, pray from your heart. I thought, from my heart is like stone. You could strike a match on it. I said, God, I don't know if you could forgive me. I don't even know if there's anything soft left in my heart. But if you can, I sincerely ask you to forgive me of all my sins. Please forgive me. As I said that, the words disappeared in front of me. More words appeared. Forgive those who have trespassed and sinned against you. I thought that means forgive other people. I could do that. I'm not a vindictive person by nature. God, I can forgive anyone, no worries. No matter what people have done to me, I forgive those that have sinned against me. As I said that, the face of the Indian taxi driver appeared in front of me. I thought, what on earth is this man doing here? The voice said, will you forgive this man for pushing you out of his taxi tonight and leaving you for dead on the side of the road? I thought, no, you must be joking. Not forgiving him. I mean, I was furious with that guy. And the next minute, the Chinese guy's face appeared in front of me. I thought, what on earth is he doing here? And the voice said, will you forgive this man for not taking you in his car tonight and leaving you to die in the hotel? I thought, no. As I saw both of these men's faces, I thought, who on earth is this voice? Who am I speaking to? Who's talking to me? These words, my mother called them the Lord's Prayer. Am I speaking to God or something? Is he actually talking to me? I lay there and thought, I don't want to forgive these men. I thought, man, this stuff could be real. I lay there almost like in a catch-22 situation. Part of me just wanted to deal out to them. I mean, I wanted to lay hands on those guys.
not in a theocratic way.
Yeah, not like the priest would do, you know, God bless you, my son. My hands are going up around his throat, man. Like, you have a problem breathing?
Yes.
Don't worry, man. Be happy. You know what I mean? I strangled them. I mean, I'm lying here dying, and I've got two men's faces before me. So this is where the rubber meets the road. This couldn't be just some mumbo-jumbo Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy stuff. This could be real. I lay there and thought, God, I don't want to forgive them. But God, if you can forgive me of all the stuff I've done wrong in my life, and I don't know how you could do it, but if you can somehow forgive me for the people I've hurt, I'll forgive these men. I'll never touch them. I'll never lay my hands upon them. I let them go. Their faces instantly disappeared. Fresh words. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I thought, that's God's will. I've done my own will for 24 years. You know, I'm independent, self-sufficient. I said, God, I don't know your will, but it appears as only a miracle will spare my life at this point. God, if you are real and you can hear me, I give my will to you. I surrender my life to you. I will try and follow you all the days of my life. As if I come through this, as I prayed that, the entire Lord's Prayer appeared. You know, Our Father, which art in heaven. As I prayed it, I understood each letter. It's like I understood for the first time in my life that I was talking to God in this prayer. An amazing peace settled upon me, and I knew as best I knew how, should there be a God, you know what I mean, and he was real, I'd try to make peace with him. You know what I mean? And as I prayed that prayer, the ambulance seemed to stop. You ever been in a car accident where everything goes into like slow motion?
Yeah.
I felt like in that ambulance, time seemed to have stopped as my heart was dealt with before God. And I had no idea how pivotal that prayer was, how powerful that prayer, pray for my heart, would mean in the things that were going to take place next. No understanding, really, of how important that prayer was. As the ambulance stopped, they lifted me into the wheelchair, raced me through the accident emergency. First person saw me was a nurse. She pulled my sweatshirt up, tried to take my blood pressure. She pumped her machine up. I watched her look at her machine and shake it. I thought, what's wrong with it? She hit the top of it, turned to me, it's like, there's something either wrong with you or the machine. Thought the machine must be broken, pulled it off my arm, pulled another blood pressure machine out, stuck it on my arm with the hoses, pumped it up, and then again hit the top of this one. Crouched down and started tapping the side glass where the mercury is supposed to move for the pressure with a fingernail. At this point, I can feel myself like in a third party, almost like I'm watching this going on. I mean, I knew this wasn't astral projection. I knew this wasn't some drug. This was death. I knew if I left my body, it was a one-way ticket. And I knew that I was so close to death that I couldn't even hear my heart beating. So I watched this nurse playing with the machines. I thought, I'm in serious trouble. My veins might have collapsed. The nurse just stared there blankly like I shouldn't be alive. The ambulance driver ripped it off my arm, pushed it to one side and raced me towards the doctors. He knew I was in trouble. As the ambulance driver raced me towards the doctors, the first doctor didn't even look at me. He's got his head down and went, "Quel âge est-il? Où est la habite?" In French, he's asking me how old I am and where I live. And I'm thinking, well, hurry up and look at me, son. Otherwise, I'm not going to be here. Who cares about my address? I'm gone. As he looked up, I thought he speaks French. Perhaps he's not good in his English. I looked at the older doctor to his left. He wasn't looking at me either. He stared up because there was such a silence in the room. As he looked into me, I locked onto his eyes and said, "Sir, I am nearly dead. I've been stung by Sark 5 envisage jellyfish. I need antitoxins now. I'm nearly dead." The nurse came sprinting in past me with her blood pressure results, passed them to the old doctor. He saw them, and whatever he saw caused the entire accident emergency to come to life. You ever been in an accident emergency? I mean, you have to be serious before someone moves in there. As I watched these men run, I watched people appear from nowhere with drip feeds and syringes. Suddenly they started shoving needles into me. The doctor saying, "Come on, son, keep your eyes open. We're going to try and save your life." Antitoxins for the poison, drip feed, dextrose for the dehydration, sugar solution. "Come on, son." Started smashing my hand, lifting my skin up, and stuck a syringe between my second and third finger. I had no idea what they were doing to begin with. Then I saw my veins start to balloon out, bubble out, and I realized they were looking for a vein, which had collapsed. As they hit the vein, the nurse was so nervous, her needle was bouncing from side to side. My vein came up to about here, full of fluid, didn't seem to be moving. I watched this nurse manually try and massage it up my forearm. To no avail. It seemed to be rolling off a thumb and forefinger. I thought, man, my veins have collapsed. I'm in trouble here. But I'm lying there thinking, this is not going to take me out. I've been in enough sessions over the years. I'm going to stay here and snap the back of this. It's not going to take me down. And I used every ounce of strength I could to keep my eyes open. But with this perspiration coming in, couldn't see properly. My lips wouldn't respond. So I tried to lift my arms up to clear my eyes, and so I could see properly. Both arms are now totally paralyzed. They wouldn't move. I thought, no. I tried to tilt my head to the right or the left, thinking if I can move it enough, it'll get my eye clear so I can continue to see. My neck wouldn't respond. The paralysis set into my neck. I'm in serious trouble. I can now try and squeeze my eyelids, which is helping clear some of the fluid, but as I do it stronger, I can feel the poison going back through the capillaries, back into the back of the eye sockets. I can feel poison being pumped back there, and my eyes getting heavier and heavier, to the point where I realise if I don't close my eyes for a few moments and have a bit of a break here, I'm going to be no good for anything. So I thought, well, I'll close my eyes, have a sleep for a few moments, and then try again. As I did that, breathed out, a bizarre sensation happened. The impression of it was like there was a release, or like the battle to stay alive had finished. I had no idea until talking to the doctors later. At that point, they came back to find my eyes closed, took my pulse. I was gone. They had lost me. I had literally gone. For a period of 15 minutes, I was just a dead corpse, a piece of meat. and they actually moved me out of the accident emergency down what it looks like to be a part of the hospital or morgue or something, moved me actually bodily down the tropics. They don't leave your body lying around too long, so they moved me out of the accident emergency down into another part of the hospital. And so, as for me, I had no idea I'd been pronounced clinically dead. To me, I was asleep. The trouble was, as I closed my eyes, which, you know, things go dark, I suddenly found myself in a standing upright position, wide awake. I knew I was awake. The trouble was, it was pitch black. And my first thought was, why on earth did those doctors go and turn the lights out in here? I mean, that's enough to spin anyone out, you know what I mean? Why on earth would they do that? What kind of hospital is this? As I stood there, wondering how long I'd been asleep for and why the lights are out, you know what I mean? 1 minute it's a hospital room, next minute it's pitch black. I thought, well, don't freak out, let your eyes accustom to the dark. Maybe you've woken up too quick. So I kept looking, thinking my pupils had dilated. No light, couldn't see a thing. It was pitch black, like a dark room. So, well, okay, there must be some light in here somewhere. So I turned around 360 degrees, checking out to see if there's some light. Couldn't see a thing. I thought, well, I'll go and just find a wall, you know, find a wall here, get the light switch, turn it on, see where we are. As I went out to my right, I couldn't find the wall. I thought, that's weird. Have they moved me? Maybe that's why the lights are out. They've moved me down to the general ward while I'm in asleep. I've woken up, the lights are out, they don't want to wake the other patients. So I thought, well, I'll go back to my bed, find my hospital bed, should be a lamp near there, and that shouldn't wake too many people up. So I started moving back to the left, groping around looking for my bed. Couldn't find it. I thought, great, you idiot, now you've lost your bed. How on earth did you do that? You know what I mean? You would talk to yourself. So I'm groping around trying to find my hospital bed, can't find it, and another thought comes into my mind. It's so dark in here, you can't even see your hand in front of your face. I thought, well, is it that dark? I brought my hand up. As it did towards my face, my hand seemed to pass straight through my face, like there was nothing physically there. I thought, that's impossible. You can't miss your head, it's not that dark. 2 hands. Brought both hands up to where my face should be. Both hands seemed to pass straight through. So where's my arm, my body, my hands? As I went for different parts of where my human form should be, there was nothing physically there. It was like you're outside of your body. But before I could think too much about that, I'm thinking, well, what is this place? What's this darkness? As I stood there, I began to tune myself to it. I could sense the darkness had an evil presence, a cold, encroaching evil pervading the atmosphere. Like it wasn't just physical, but there was a spiritual darkness, you know what I mean? Like it was evil in there. And as I stood there, I began to sense something out to my right looking at me. In front of me, I felt like invisible eyes of something or someone checking me out. You ever felt that? Ever kind of felt like when you're walking home at night, sometimes someone's checking you out and you get a bit of a chill through your spine? Well, you intensify that about 100 times over. I'm standing there sensing not only something, but there's something moving towards me. As I feel the movement in this darkness towards me, I move back. As I do, a man screams at me to the right, out of the midst of the darkness, and says this, "Shut up!" I went, "Shut up?" I said, "Nothing. What are you talking about?" You know, responding to him, I braced myself for a hit. As I did that, another voice of a man screamed at me to the left. He said, "You deserve to be here." "Deserve to be where? Where am I?" Another man in front of me. "You're in hell. Now shut up." Well, I don't believe in hell. I was an atheist. I believed hell was a religious trip put on people to scare them into their religion. I thought all religions are based in fear. If there was a hell, it'd be a party time. You know what I mean? The jury headbanging stuff. You know what I mean? Sex and drugs and rock and roll. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that's what it'll be. Party time. Everything you can't do up here, you can get away with down there. I thought I'd rather be down there than up there in the clouds with a white sheet on, having some little... given a harp to play, you know what I mean, and some little fat baby with wings on firing arrows at me. I thought I'd rather be, you know, down here partying than up there in the clouds playing the harp or something. I mean, really. But see, both of those concepts just went out the window. I'm standing not down to party time with the lads. I'm standing here outside of my physical body. Pretty hard to grab your bear down there, isn't it?
Right.
Can't find your face. I mean, and jokes aside, you wouldn't want your worst enemy to go there. It was like I was standing there. I thought, man, this is like a holding tank. This is like, I mean, this could be real. It's not the place where your physical body goes, because I realised my physical body must be up in the hospital, you know what I mean? That's where, for a guy,
aware of a lot of
it's like you're suddenly getting a download of reality. This could be the pit.
Yeah.
And these men are in the same place. And your thought is like speech to them. You could be there 5 minutes to 5,000 years. You can't get tired. You can't tell time. You could actually be here. This could be it. As I stood there, realizing I could actually be in hell, in total darkness, a radiant beam of light pierced through the darkness above me. As this light touched my face, I felt an awesome presence go through me, and my entire body seemed to lift off the ground and be translated up into this light and radiance. As I'm being drawn up into it, I can see that it's coming from a circular shaped opening far above me, that this light is emanating out of a circular opening. I feel like a speck of dust being drawn towards this light. As I'm being drawn up towards it, I thought, is this real? I looked back over my shoulder, and far beneath me I could see the darkness. Somehow this light had pinpointed me and plucked me out of it. Still not understanding what this light was, I began to move up to the opening, enter it. As I was drawn into the opening, I could now see that it was a tunnel, circular in shape. As I looked along the length of it, I could see the source of the radiance. My first thought is the center of the universe. Look at the light. Look at the power coming from there. And moving into the tunnel, I knew I wasn't walking. I was being translated through the air and at a supernatural speed, drawn towards the light. As I'm being moved towards it, I watch as a wave of radiance comes up. As this wave of light comes off the source, it touches me, and I feel warmth, comfort. All that kind of fear and darkness just seems to go out of me, and I feel a living light flow through me. As I moved through it, I thought in the darkness, I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. Maybe in this radiant light, I can see something. So I turned my head, you know what I mean, to look. As I looked to my right, I saw my arm, my hand outstretched, because I've been drawn towards it. As I looked, my arm was transparent, full of light, totally full of radiance. I thought, that's bizarre. I'd stopped in the tunnel. I thought, I don't want to stop here. I want to see more. I don't know what's happened to me, but I want to see what's down there. As I continued to look back to the source of the radiance, I felt myself again move along the tunnel towards it. As I did, another wave of light came up. As this wave of radiance passed into me, joy, total joy, filled me. I thought, that's awesome. What I'm going to see next is going to be the most incredible thing a man could possibly see. As I popped out of the tunnel, I watched now where the tunnel had constricted the size and diameter of the light I could see. I now had unrestricted access to the radiance. As I looked out, I could see I was standing in what appeared to be the center of the universe. All light and power seemed to be directly in front of me. Shafts of radiance came out from the central core. It was like a white fire. Phenomenal radiance in the central core. From that, I watched this brilliant light piercing out. And I thought, even the stars in the universe, even the constellations must find their energy source from this focal point. What is that light? Is there someone in there surrounded by this radiance? Or is that just an energy source in the cosmos? Is that just some power source of good in the universe? Or is there a person or a being in that radiance? As I questioned that in my own mind, a voice spoke to me from the center of the light. The voice said, Ian, do you wish to return? As I heard this man's voice, I instantly recognized it be the same one that spoke to me on the side of the road where I nearly closed my eyes and died. The same voice that asked me to beg for my life, the same voice that spoke to me in the ambulance, asked me if I'd forgive these men. As I heard his voice, I thought, he knows my name, there is someone, but return where? Where am I? As I looked behind, I could see the same circular-shaped opening, like the tunnel that I'd apparently just travelled down, dissipating back into darkness. I thought, darkness, hospital bed, my physical body. Have I left my physical form? Have I actually come up this tunnel of light? Is this real? Am I standing here out of my physical form? Or am I comatized in the hospital, having some bizarre dream or hallucination? Am I alive or am I dead?
Quite a quandary there.
Well, in my mind, I could cognitively think of the two alternatives. You don't leave your mind behind. No. As I stood there grappling with what was reality, I thought, this could be real. I could actually be dead. Maybe I did die. Perhaps I'm standing here. I thought, but return where? I responded to the question. I said, I don't even know where I am. If I'm out of my physical body, I wish to return. I have no idea where I am. As I spoke that to him, he spoke to me again and said, Ian, if you wish to return, you must see in a new light. I thought, if I want to go back, I must see in a new light. What does that mean? Light. See the light. Look at this light. Am I seeing the light? It must be. Look at this. It's a phenomenal radiance. Are you the true light? As I asked the question to the person who was speaking to me, words appeared in front of my eyes. God is light. And in him there is no darkness at all. 1 John 1:5. I thought I've read this somewhere, a Christmas card in South Africa, in Cape Town, in Bantry Bay. I remember reading this, but I didn't know what the 1 John 1:5 was. I thought there were hieroglyphics, Roman or, Egyptian, something. I had no idea what that numerology was. But these words had fascinated me because it said, God is light. Every other philosophy or religion I'd ever heard anyone expound on said that God is yin and yang, light and dark, good and evil, in the circle of life, as they used to tell me in their philosophy and their religion. God had both light and darkness in him. They said, well, you've got good and evil in you, Ian, so therefore if you're created in the image of God, God must. But this teaching said, no, God is pure light. Man might have good and evil in him, but God has none. He is pure light. As I stood there, I thought, could that be God? And in him there's no darkness at all. I've just come from darkness. Whoever this person is, whoever this being is, there is no darkness, no shadow, nothing but light. Could that be God? As I'm standing there, I'm thinking, well, it could be. Look at the intensity and power that's surrounding him. Look at the phenomenal light. And whoever he is, he knows my name. And he knows what I'm thinking. Before I even speak, he knows my inner thought. I thought only God could do that. I thought if that is God and God is light, then his light and presence must be able to search my inner man. His spirit must be able to see everything that I've done wrong in my life. You know, you can put a masquerade or a mask up before people, you know what I mean? You can fool people. But here, I knew that all the masquerades and masks in my life were gone. I was undone. That light was penetrating and searching the depth of me. I thought, they've made a mistake here. I shouldn't be here. I'm not a good man. I should crawl back under some rock or go back into the darkness where I belong. I don't want God to see my life transparent before him. Have you ever been ashamed of stuff? I mean, I've done some stuff. I thought, nah, I've done that stuff, man. I knew myself. I began to pull back. As I began to pull back towards the darkness of the tunnel, I watched a wave of radiance come off him and move towards me. I expected it to touch me and literally catapult me back into the pit. But as this wave of light emanated forth off him, it moved through me. And all I got was love. I thought, you can't love me, I've cursed you. More love came. This time it got stronger. I said, why are you loving me, God? Don't you know what I've done? More love. I said, I've slept around, taken heaps of drugs. More of his love. I couldn't believe. My whole body tingled with a supernatural presence as love and forgiveness and acceptance just came to issue forth from him. It's like he was completely embracing me with his presence no matter what I'd done wrong. I couldn't understand it, I felt myself beginning to weep. As I began to weep, the love got stronger. I could feel this liquid love moving through me and filling me up on the inside. I felt the entire part of my being filled with light, but more tears kept coming. I just couldn't understand that God could accept me as I was. As it continued to come, I looked out to see I was now surrounded, encased in radiance. My entire person was full of light, and I was totally at peace. As I stood there, I watched the waves of light ebb and then cease. And I thought, I wonder if I could possibly step through the light that surrounds God. I thought, I'm so close. I wonder if he'd let me in. I stood there and said, God, could I come in? I want to ask you the meaning and truth to life. He said nothing. So I thought, if he can love and accept me as I am, surely he won't mind. So I stepped towards the radiance. As I did, I found myself disappear into this light. It was so dense, it was like a cloud. As I moved into it, I was now where inside the light were like shimmering veils of fluorescence. It was almost like small stars caught inside this cloud, giving off facets of radiance, sparkling, shimmering, like the facets of almost a cut diamond, how it gives off light. But it wasn't physical in the sense that it wasn't stones or diamonds. It was actually light breaking forth in this cloud. As I moved through veils of this light, an amazing healing presence was coming forth off the light. It was like a healing property was touching my broken heart. You know what I mean? I could feel my heart of hearts being healed. I mean, I'd look for love and sex and stuff, but this was pure. I mean, this wasn't some degenerate, you know, sicko stuff. This was pure. And it was just touching. Yes, the depths of me, man. I knew what sex and that stuff was, but this was pure love, no strings attached. As I continued to move through, I thought, is there any way that God would let me see him? Because all I'm seeing is this light. Could I see God? Well, I just see this radiance. As I moved in, it suddenly began to part. As the light began to open up, I became aware that standing in the center, I began to make out a man's bare feet. Around his ankles were dazzling white robes, garments. Not garments of cloth, but garments of light. As I looked out and saw that, I began to lift my face up to see the chest of the man, and his arms were outstretched with dazzling white robes, as if to welcome me. But as I looked towards his face, I almost had to turn away. Because as I saw the light and radiance coming off his face, I turned because it was so pure. And it was 7 times brighter than all the light that I'd just seen. This light seemed to eclipse everything I'd walked in through. His face shone like the light was coming out of the pores of his skin. I could make out the form of the features of the you know what I mean, like the hair, but I couldn't see the actual facial features because the light was so brilliant. I began walking closer towards him, thinking, that must be God. I wondered if I could just see his face. I'll know who God is. As I got within a few feet of his presence, I began to place my face into the light. And it didn't hurt your eyes. It was like you could look into it. As I placed my face closer in towards his face, hoping I'd break through that veil, as my face did, he suddenly moved. I thought, why has he done that? I've got so close I couldn't see his face. As he moved, all the radiance moved with him.
Please don't miss part 3, the conclusion of this 3-part series, when IanMcCormack reveals what he saw of the new earth that God had promised as recorded in the Bible book of Revelation chapter 21. Until the next program, goodbye.
You've been watching Revelation, the program with a biblical perspective. For further information on this or other programs, please go to our website, www.rtv.uk.com, or telephone 0208 255 3333. We are interested in your comments and welcome any biblically based questions that you may have. Address your emails to comments@rtv.uk.com. Thank you for watching.